Welcome to the first ever podcast / episode of Deconditioned. Hi, I'm Olivia and I am a 5/1 manifesting ego manifestor. Still getting used to even referring to myself as that. So I've thought long and hard about this. This is my first ever episode. And I thought to myself, why on earth am I doing this? I don't know, because you know what? Us manifestors, we get some random bloody creative urges that don't make sense to us. So I'm just following an urge right now. And this is, I don't think it's a major creative one, like a big one. I do believe that I'm in my rest cycle. However, the purpose of me doing this is, one, I got an urge, and two, I also have learnt with ego manifestors, I've just recently learned this, that we typically learn or go through big moments of breakthroughs through speaking out loud. So through our sound of our own voice. So that's the main reason why I'm doing this. I'm doing this selfishly to speak it out loud because I am that crazy person that walks around my house all day, every day, talking to myself. My fiance, who I'm about to marry in a couple of weeks, of 10 years, so we've been together. Her name is Tara, and she walks around, she's like, babe, you okay? I'm like, just talking to myself again. She's learning to leave me alone. She's a projector, by the way. She is an splenic projector. So the reason why I wanted to do this is mainly for myself, truth be told. And also my urge is telling me that this will be bigger than myself at some point. I will need this, or someone else will need this. And it will be bigger than myself. So that's the reason why I'm doing it. Another reason why I'm doing it is because I am in the process of deconditioning from the world around us. It's extremely hard and I am resisting a lot at the moment, but I'm someone who's extremely open to leaning on leveraging tools and resources and people around me to help me move through things. I'm quite a spiritual person. So for background and context, if you don't know who I am, I was in a corporate world working for one of the largest telecommunication companies for 12 years. It was called Optus in Australia. I left that, got a big creative urge to then design something that never had been done before, so I became Australia's only property coach. So I was teaching Australians after I personally got to the top 1% of property investors in my 20s. I realised that not that many people knew how to build a property portfolio. So I found a niche in something that Australians really desire and a problem that is hard to overcome, that I overcame. So I decided to become a property coach. And that was an amazing, probably the best creative urge that I was initiated into developing. That started, first initial download of that was at like the beginning of 2021, but I didn't really do anything about it until the middle of 2022. Sorry, the beginning of 2022. So my creative urge, I believe, lasted all of 2022 and a majority of 2023. By the end of 2023, I did not know about this, and I'm filming this now at the end of 2024. So 12 months ago, I believe that I entered my rest cycle, and I've just been discovering and moving through for the last 12 months about what rest cycles and urges are like, and it's been a rough 2024 in terms of personal growth. I'm also heavily into astrology, numerology. I have experts in those fields that I get readings from to help me through these things, as well as human design. And also the number one person I probably lean on outside of human design work is my kinesiologist, who helps me through a lot of trauma work. So I'm quite a person who looks at growth, who values growth and is consistently looking at it so I can become a better version of me. Because if we look at the three core wounds of manifestors, rejection, mediocrity, And the big one that kills me is fucking control. So, I don't know why I was mentioning that. Yeah, so she has helped me through a lot of those core wounds. I'm still moving through a lot of them, and I think it'll just be a process for the rest of my life. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. So I don't know where this is going to go, is the answer. It's like just literally a way of me kind of like talking to myself and hoping if I post this onto YouTube and onto Spotify, maybe someone will hear it, a manifestor will be like, fuck, I'm like you, Liv. Yes, that's me. And then every time as I got more into human design work, I realized, wow, there's so much to my design type where I'm just like, seriously, I'm not similar to even any other manifestor. Because if you break down the 3 different types, there's splenic, emotional, and ego manifestors. I'm an ego manifestor, the rarest of those 3. So I'm like, bloody hell. Does anyone relate to me? So if you're ready for a roller coaster, fucking buckle up because my life's a bit of a roller coaster. I have zero agenda for this other than me speaking out, create an extra YouTube channel, just see what happens, creating something that's like real organic and what I'm moving through at the moment. And also somewhere where I can just like talk and not have to. So I'm a one-on-one property coach, and I've learned very, very quickly that like that is the way that I've set up that business. As my first business, it was a very successful business. By year 2, just nearly over 7 figures, 96% profit margin. I fucking killed it over the last 2 years. I didn't spend a cent on ads. Like I just had previous sales experience, marketing. I just hired coaches and everything wherever I needed, wherever my bottlenecks were. And so that's been easy. Now I'm really bored. I'm really bored in that business. And I realized that boredism is the start of manifestors' urges coming to an end. And there's a lot on my shoulders at the moment. I'm also quite the masculine role in my relationship and in my family. And I suppose this is a bit of my line 5 as well, coming out of me, a bit of the hero. Where I've always needed to parent my parents and be the one to look after everyone. So I've obviously attracted that for a reason, right? So this is a place where I feel like I can come and not have to be that rah-rah energy that my community is used to receiving from me. And that inspired energy, because I get paid, if I'm going to be completely honest, I could just like automate everything in my business right now and have no touch points with me. Profit could drop like quite a fair bit, but my niche in where I'm in Australia is I'm that one-on-one inspirational coach that people pay me for. They're like, I just want to be in Liv's back pocket. And I'm like, fuck me, this couldn't be. Like there's parts of the business which is perfectly aligned for it's fully in my astrology chart. It's fully in my human design and everything leading up to me creating this business. It was absolutely meant to be for me, which is great. It's changed my life. But I also see now why this business model moving forward, it is in every way like not the business model for a manifestor, especially an ego manifestor. So I think my willpower that manifestors have, we have quite a strong amount of willpower. I think that's the one thing that's keeping me afloat right now. Because I just want to basically throw my whole entire business out the window and burn it down. I want to burn it down. If I realize that I can't burn it down, I shouldn't. I financially could not burn it down. So yeah, I'm just like, fuck, I'm waiting for that next urge to occur. And apparently, now I don't know if this is true, but apparently manifestors' urges are 20% of our life, which means we're meant to be in our rest cycles for 80% of our life. Now, I don't know if you're watching this or not, or listening to this and you've never heard that before. Who knows? if that's true. I'm choosing to not believe it. In saying that, when I heard that, I went through and created a timeline of my life of like when I could roughly gauge when my urges were and when my rest cycles were. And it's right on par. It's about 2 years, roughly, for an urge, and then about 5 years roughly for a rest cycle. So if my rest cycle started about 12 months ago, I've roughly got 4 sort of years left. And so I'm figuring out ways at the moment on how to automate my business. I've got an automations and AI guy in my company at the moment, and an ads person. I've now turned on ads for the first time purely just so I don't have to keep creating fucking content. So I'm just doing whatever I can to remove me and my time inside the company and just keep afloat for the next couple of years. I've also I'm getting married in a few weeks. And that alone, it's so funny because I decided, so I was with my partner. We've been together for nine years. We're getting married on a 10-year anniversary. And on our 7-year anniversary, I proposed. But we didn't do anything because we were like, no, we don't want to get married yet. We don't want to get married. We weren't in a rush. And then right as my creative urge was finishing up at the end of 2023 was when I decided, let's do the wedding. Let's financially lock in and do this wedding. Let's make it happen. So I committed to a major financial commitment. And as a property coach and an investor, and I buy companies and all of this sort of stuff, as somebody who who puts a lot of money into investing, it was a lot of money for me to think about putting into something that wasn't going to have an investment return, like a financial return. It's all about experience. And bloody hell, so I committed to an intense, probably the biggest it is financially the biggest thing I've ever invested in or I've ever spent money on that is not an investment. Like, I'm used to spending this type of money on buying an investment property. And I decided to make that financial commitment and save for that money, put that away at the same time as my creative urge was wrapping up in my business. No, I did not know about this. Fuck me, I did not know about it. So 2024 has stretched me. It has fucking stretched me. And I am like burnt. You're looking at a manifestor. Burnt the fuck out. So I feel like I'm just surviving at the moment. Like, I feel like I'm head above water. So I'm trying to do whatever I can to remove any stress out of my business, or commitments out of my personal life. Not committing to anything. For example, I'm filming this in December 2024, and everyone's talking about, goals for next year, and all the generators are like, what's your process? What are your goals? And I'm just like deconditioning like there's no tomorrow. And I'm like, and I'm heavily involved with a lot of entrepreneurs around me. Didn't used to, honestly. I probably only started surrounding myself with a lot of entrepreneurs about 2 years ago, during that creative urge that I had. So my community around me has changed a lot from the corporate life. And yeah, a lot of the generators around me are like, what are your goals? What are you going to achieve? What's your process? And I'm like, nothing, guys. I have 0 goals. I'm not going to have a goal. I'm not putting any pressure on me. I'm just cruising through life now. And it's weird because I'm going against the grain. Because obviously in the entrepreneurial space, it's like, you got to fucking hustle and you got to fucking be a generator, basically, or a manny-gen. I'm like, that ain't going to work. So yeah, so it's been an intense, wild year. Also, for some background context of where I started my development of human design, the first thing that ever came across to me was, again, and it's just me being spiritually open, was I had a kinesiology session I actually flew to Melbourne for this one. It was probably one of my biggest kinesiology sessions I've ever had in my life. Around a trauma that I had, and I moved through it. This was in start of 2022. April 2022. And I got out of that session, and my kinesiologist, as I'm leaving, she's like, wait, Liv, your guides want to let you know to dive into human design. I was like, okay. She's like, do you know anything about it? I was like, oh, I know I'm a manifestor, but I have no idea what that means, because my fiance was kind of into it a little bit. Just a little bit. Like 1% of what we know now. So I got that download. I was like, okay, cool. Did nothing with it for like 3 to 5 months. Did nothing with it. And then I got my first reading. And fuck me, that reading was so good. It was a reading from a manager, and her name was Steph. And Steph had a little toddler, a little son, who was also a manifestor. So she was just fucking so stoked to read my chart. And then when she got ultra excited when she found out I was an Ego Manifestor, so ultra rare, that makes me 0.1 of the population. And then on top of that, I'm so fucking grateful and lucky. I also have the 1% money line. So that is gate 40. It's gate 41 to 24 something. Can't remember exactly. Pretty sure it's gate 41 to 20 something. Anyway, I had no idea what she was saying when she was saying it. She's like, yeah, it just means that you're going to be really abundant and stuff is going to come to you financially quite easily. I'm like, okay, cool. Great. When she said it, I was like, I know. As a manifestor, I was like, I know, mate. Don't you worry. Everything comes to me so easily. Anything I've ever wanted. Any resource. So that's what I'm leaning into at the moment, is just learning about and going back through the history of learning about all of the see, I have this brain fog at the moment. This is wild. This has been really hard for me at the moment. I'm really challenged by it. Intense brain fog. All I want to do is just stare at the wall and do gardening. So I'm trying to do that as much as possible. I'm lucky I live in Gold Coast in Australia, so by the water. So I like that, so I can hang out by the water a lot. It keeps me calm. Where was I on? Complete tangent. There you go. There is going to be zero structure to this shit, honestly. Some days I'm going to be hyperactive. Other days I'll be like, fuck the universe. But there is a side of me where I'm like, or if I am hyperactive, I've got heaps of energy, I'm like, oh, I really should use that in my business. Because I don't typically, whenever I'm hyperactive, I don't typically use an urge or energy, because I get anxious that energy is not going to last long. So I'm like, fuck, whilst it's here, I've got to use it wisely, use it on something that is going to automate my business more, essentially. I don't know where I was on a tangent. It happens so much. So anyway, human design. It's a funny thing. I fucking hope that this changes. And see, that's like the being mediocre shadow plays out a lot, because we're here to impact. And I can't leave this earth until I've fucking impacted, until I've done something global. I need to do something on a global scale. And, and there's actually this program I've just learned that you could buy a program on famous manifestors. And I'm going to study that. That's my next little creative edge I'm going to do. So that's going to be interesting, because I really look up to, I think it's really good to be able to look up to people who have gone before us and seen how they've done it. Like Adele, the singer, if you didn't know, Adele's quite a famous manifestor. She'll create an album or music in some way. I just fucking love her. I just want to come back as Adele. I'm like, guys, can you please send me back as Adele next time? Really into music too. Apparently that's somewhere in my chart. Yeah, I would love to come back as Adele. Just to create music, change the world, create an album, and then that just like financially supports her for the next 5 to 7 years. She doesn't have to create anything else. And she just be at home with the babies. Like, how fucking cool. But she makes such a big impact on people around her, you know. Her lyrics have literally changed lives. And she's such an interesting artist because I also play drums as well. I'd like to think that I play drums. I've only ever had a few lessons. I've got a fake, like an electric drum kit. That makes me really happy. Anyway, let's see what comes of this. Deconditioning is hard. And so one of the things I'm deconditioning at the moment is the whole hustle culture in the entrepreneurial space. And my friends that I hang out with are wild. So I've got probably like 3 or 4 close friends. Let's just say 4 close friends that I hang out with regularly that are entrepreneurs, and most of them are all coaches. One is a generator. 2 of them are mani-gens. And the 4th one is a projector, which is probably my closest friend. That one is going to be my bridesmaid at my wedding. So my projector one, so great because we can relate. Fuck, if you don't have projectors around you as manifestors, I swear to God we need them so much. My fiance is a projector, and fuck me, I feel so seen and heard. I love it. Feels that ego so much. And my projector friend, we are spiritually moving through similar things at the same time for the last 12 months consistently. Whenever she's going through a symptom, I'm experiencing the similar symptom. The root cause is typically different, but we're typically going through a symptom and a very similar lesson at the exact same time, like literally to the day or to the week. Or we'll catch up a week later and be like, how was your week? We'll just be like, oh, I went through this horrible thing. I'm like, oh my God, so did I. It's like, it's kind of weird. There's something there, some sort of synergy. I'm not quite sure. I actually want to get a full reading because you can get human design readings that see the loops between different charts. And I've got a really high level one, but I want to get a deeper one with this particular friend because there's something there as well. I'm actually going to do it with all my close friends, for my 4 or 5 closest. But anyway, there we go. That's a tangent for today. Let's see where this goes. Hold on, buckle in. It's going to be wild. I like to document this shit. Even for me to just look back at, future me can look back at and be like, yes, little Olivia, you go girl. Look at you moving through your shit and growing through your stuff. I'm also heavily impacted by the fucking eclipses. That's one thing I'm also resisting a lot of. I'm just like, no, I don't want to be impacted this much. So I'm speaking to my guides. I'm saying thank you. Thank you for all the beautiful things that you sent me. Also, can you please send me some sort of support? Can you please send me some resource to help me through this? Because this is challenging. Eclipses are very challenging for me. And I've been more consciously aware of them throughout 2024. So let's see where this goes. Follow along. You can tell I'm so drained right now. But I was like, fuck, all I want to do is just like talk about this and speak it out loud. Because it's either I speak it out loud on camera here and no one gets to see it, or I speak it out loud on my own, sitting in my back garden, and then no one gets to learn from it. So it's helping me, and hopefully it helps other people. There we go. Bit of rawness for you. Hope you're enjoying your day wherever you're listening to this too. I don't have any way of you contacting me just yet if you're just listening to this now. I'll see what evolves from this. Maybe I'll make it so that you can contact me for something. Maybe I won't. But I also don't want to be responding to anything because I have a business which I'm only just being able to respond to. So for now, if you're watching this, you don't get access to me. But maybe in the future you might. Who knows?